take a look around and find somebody to War Eagle. It's showtime.
Holy cow! Oh my God!
Hello, Auburn, Alabama, and all points around the globe where War Eagle can be heard and returned with joy. With joy! Particularly at the intersection of West Magnolia and Donahue. If you'd like a sandwich and a view on an autumn Saturday afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day to you. And as always, I hope this message finds you truly well and joyful and that you have all the gasoline you need. Watch out for those pesky Russians. Well, hello there, consumers of Auburn broadcast transmissions, and welcome to Auburn Stuff, the variety show podcast where we discuss the philosophy of life in orange and blue. And other stuff I find interesting, compelling, or otherwise noteworthy. And there are, as of today, as of right now, as of this recording, there are 114 days until football season. And some undetermined number approximating 170 days-ish until basketball. Oh my God, that seems unreachable. Summer. Honest to God, who over 17 years of age has anything good to say about summer? There is nothing good about summer if you are an adult. The less said about that, the better. And warm greetings as well around the firmament to our listeners from all the way from Ethelsville to Anniston and over in Tupelo, Mississippi. Republic, Washington, way up there in the Great Northwest. The Great Northwest, but far enough east of the insanity in the Great Northwest that those people are a bit insulated from the lunatic fringe. And in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, St. George, Utah, out in the desert, in the steppe. And in Edinburgh, Scotland. Thank you for joining the fun, and special recognition goes out right now at the recording of this episode to our largest download states not located in the deep southeast, Minnesota and Pennsylvania. Thank you. Thank you for being there. And it is Thursday, May 13th. With the clock approaching 2:53 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. But over in the Central Time Zone, the current weather at College of Magnolia is giving you 71 deliciously crispy degrees with a gentle northeast zephyr at 6 miles per hour with humidity just a notch above 50%, which is just doggone perfect. And it seems that the delightful weather has taken hold nationwide, which is a nice little padding before, summer. Ugh. And listen, I live in a, down here in the lower southeast corner of South Carolina, and it is a resort-heavy area. Lots of turistas. and lots of transplants who tend to bitch every time the thermometer drops below, I don't know, say 75. Stop it. It's okay when it's not 96 degrees. You got to learn how to adjust from Western Pennsylvania, Central Ohio, Northern New Jersey. It's okay just because it's South Carolina. Just because it's 50 doesn't mean we're going to have 4 months of 2 feet of snow on the ground. It's okay. Even in February. If it's 40 one day, hold on, it might be 80 the next. Chill. You know what I mean? Hey, what is the deal with an alarmingly increasing number of male humans intentionally making their vehicles sound like weed eaters or gunfire? I don't know. How is that even legal? How are those people riding? You know what I'm talking about. Everybody, it seems like every third car on the road, it's not even cool. It's not even like back in the day when Skeeter would spend all his time working in the garage to make that Trans Am or that, Ford Ranger that he was building into a monster truck, have that good guttural sort of roar. And then you put it on the trailer and take it out to the dirt track on Saturday night. No. We got to have it. Apparently they sell exhaust systems. And I don't know. Does it say make your car sound like a weed eater on the packaging? I don't know how we're selling this to people. It's like this. What is it with the Scion? Why are there so many purple Scions with spoilers and exhaust systems and whatnot? It's not a race car. It is a massive case of arrested development, though. Anyway, stop it. Stop making so much goddamn noise. Realize that you share the world. Okay. I have a lot of fun summer topics like that, but we have to leave something for the months and weeks of drudgery ahead before we make it back to the soul-quenching wonderfulness of fall. Anyway, so getting right down to it. By the way, here's a little pitch, a little shout coming from my heart. There's an increasing amount of content creators out there, and that is a good thing. That's a good thing. There's something for everybody. There should be something for everybody. But of particular note, I have been reeled in slowly but surely over the last, 6 weeks or so, maybe 2 months, by the War Report guys. Those guys are doing it right. If you haven't found them yet, or if you haven't made them a regular part of your rotation on YouTube, go subscribe. Give those guys some money, because they're absolutely killing it. They're not just doing I don't know what I do, which is just getting on here and yammering into a microphone for a little while. And they're not, sitting in a radio studio blithering stupid nonsense about nothing that's neither germane nor funny. These guys know how to deliver. They know how to deliver, and they are killing it. So good job out there. I wanted to shout that out because something came up to me whilst watching a recent episode of the War Report. And they had Nathan King on there. And by the way, there's another one. Nathan King's a great writer. He did an absolutely fantastic job on this particular episode of the War Report. But there was a point where I had to pause and back up and pause and back up and take a knee and lie down for a minute and ball up in the corner and then start watching again and pause and stop and start and pause and go ball up in the corner again before I could come back at what they were talking about, which was, I swear to God, I should just rename this show Bitchin' About the Last Guy or The Real History of the Last Guy or some dumb crap like that. I swear to you people, the latent trauma we suffered from years of not being able to figure out why we couldn't win anything meaningful. It's not that we couldn't win anything meaningful. It's we couldn't figure out why, because we had all this talent and all these promises. But the trauma from that is going to have to come out, and it's going to have to come out slowly for therapeutic purposes, and it's going to take a few years most likely. But anyway, the guys and Nathan King were talking about an article that had come out, and I'm not going to, it doesn't matter what the heck it was. The gist of it was about kind of the state of the program and dudes showing up, players showing up or not, late, maybe they show up, maybe they don't. I was like, you see, I don't understand that. I don't get that mentality. If you're going to do a thing, you do it until you die. You get after it. That's character. Why bother? Why bother if you're not going to do that? And so we're talking about a revelatory article that brought up the fact that dudes might not have been giving decent effort, might be showing up late, might not show up at all. Maybe they have a doctor's note. And, like I said, that took me a minute to wrap my head around that. When I thought, well, it's no fucking wonder old Gustav was so loved by the players. The players coach. Have you seen Brian Harsin work? No wonder all these lazy fuckers are transferring out. Holy hell. So you're transferring because you want game reps and playing time and a shot at the next level, but you can't be bothered to show up for work? This says all you need to know about the culture. Is what the door-kicking show up early and give everything you have grown-ass man in me wants to say very loudly. But the balanced, introspective, and prudent philosopher in me understands that there are 8 million stories in the naked city, ladies and gentlemen. College football transfers are merely some of them. And this transfer issue has stuck in my craw, and it is not because of the thing itself. It's because, and we have this trouble in our culture, but it's because we can't seem to find a balanced conversation about the thing itself. As I've always said, I am not, for the 500th time, anti-transfer. I am, however, anti-bad decision-making. Now, you can't keep people from making bad decisions, and you shouldn't, because you have to learn. So you can't keep people from making bad decisions, but you can damn sure provide them with the maximum amount of clean information to nurture the seeds of future pragmatism. In fact, I've been saying for years that college football needs to have draft rules more similar to college basketball. Let these young men have access to authentic information. Authentic information regarding their future or lack thereof, on the next level. These guys are in desperate need of truth rather than what they're receiving which is more often than not nothing more than a leering assemblage of hyenas feeding off the nutrient-rich carcasses of young athletes. Let's put as much honest information in front of these young men as possible so they can walk a path that isn't paved with bullshit. Now, the truth is that there are players who should transfer out of or into a situation. Let's not be obtuse here. Listen, at all times, consider the following when dealing with your fellow human beings. Know this. You absolutely never know what's going on with people. You have no idea. You have absolutely no idea what's going on with people. Byron Cowart, who knows what was in that young man's heart and why he was having such trouble. We don't know what was going on with him, with his family, with a relationship. We just don't know. And that's just one example that leapt to the front of my mind. You can't speculate on why a young man might feel compelled to, and again, I say young man, and I'm referring to mostly guys in this because really the football thing is this year, the one-time transfer haywire is really kind of what I'm basing this on, because when it comes to other sports like softball, volleyball, Olympic sports, track and field, whatever, people's lives aren't generally affected by. Well, you know what? Let me back up for a second, because there is a lot of money to be made off of certain Olympic sports for certain people. But for the most part, I don't think that those young men and women playing these kind of non-revenue sports, if you want to use that term, are being sold a bill of goods as much as football and basketball players, and especially as much as football players. Because basketball actually seems to have, even though there's a lot of horrendous skin-peeling corruption and exploitation in college basketball, or in basketball period, they seem to have a pretty reasonable system set up to get these guys information they need to make a decision. So that's why I'm referring to young men in this. So don't have a cow over that. But anyway, so yeah, you never know what's going on with somebody that might compel them to leave a situation they're in. They might be in an untenable situation with a coach or a peer, another player or another student, or there might be legal issues, or there might be family issues or something like that. So for the most part, I'm not talking about those things, and you should know that. I'm talking about bouncing around from situation to situation based on the notion that football is the only thing in your life, because you got a lot of life to live. So, as I said, there are plenty of players who should transfer into or out of a situation just simply based on football, which, let's just take a couple of recent examples from close to home. Justin Fields. Justin Fields should have transferred from Athens Academy from that situation. Hell, he never should have considered them in the first place. They don't have, and probably never will, run an offense conducive to his skill set. The first time I saw him play in high school, buddy of mine that I've known since kindergarten, and is still, because Justin Fields played at Harrison High School, just right up the street from where I grew up. And so my buddy, whose daughter goes to Harrison, so he's involved in athletics there. He texted me one night and said, "Hey man, Harrison's on ESPN. They're playing on ESPN. You need to check out this guy, Justin Fields. He's committed to Georgia." And my buddy's a Georgia grad. In spite of that, I like him. Anyway, so I watched him play, and I'm like, why in the hell is he going to Georgia? He is not a fit for there. Anyway, I would say he should have come to Auburn, but Christ almighty, he would have transferred out quicker than he transferred out of Georgia, given what that coaching staff would have likely done with him. Here, Justin, you are mega talented. You are orders of magnitude more talented than any other quarterback we've had here in ages. But, well, you know what I mean, except for Cam. But you know what I mean. But what I want you to do is go stand under there in the pistol or the shotgun and look over here every time. Don't make no decisions, and you have no checkdowns, and you have no options on the field. Look at me. Look at your brain on the sidelines. So, yeah, I would have loved to have had him here, but no. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow should have transferred. They were stacking QBs at Tree Nut U, and he took advantage of a primo opening in the SEC, the SEC West, with a degree in his hand. He was a grad transfer. This was no wayward soul drifting through the ether. He had a plan. And his plan led to a Heisman Trophy, a national championship, and a high draft pick in the NFL. Mission accomplished. Well, that part of it anyway. Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts should have transferred. He had his job yanked by a left-handed walking injury. Also, Jalen Hurts, a grad transfer. Not drifting. A grad transfer. Headed to a primo opening at a place pumping QBs into the NFL. Good move, Jalen Hurts. None of these, Fields, Burrow, Hurts, none of those could be considered just sort of like, I got to get out of here because I can't play. I got to get out of here. There's too many guys in front of me. I mean, Justin Fields' situation was like, that was a bit of a head scratcher, but, you know, circumstances being what they are. But Joe Burrow and Jalen and Justin Fields went to Ohio State and stayed at Ohio State. He didn't transfer out again. And that's boy, you start talking about these multiple transfers and it gets really worrisome. What about Tony Fair, our new nose tackle? Tony Fair is the poster child for transferring. Now, there are some dudes who are destined to play in the NFL. And I think he's one of them. And he's, for whatever reason, he's been working his way up the ladder. Indiana State, wasn't it? He's from South Bend, Indiana. So there was a reason he couldn't get into Notre Dame. And there's a reason he went to Indiana State. And then came south. Got himself positioned in a spot where he could get noticed down the street from that other place across the state and by us. Pretty smart move there. And then he climbed up another rung on the ladder, so he'll have his final season under a great defensive coordinator, a great coach, a great staff. And don't be surprised if Tony Fair does something along the lines of Nick Fairley as far as being the whole transfer thing, working his way up the ladder, having no final explosive season and moving on. But for every one of those guys, there are far more, and I'd say the vast majority, who should stay put and take advantage of the situation in which they stand. From an ontological perspective, I don't really care about sports over bolstering a system that creates and sends forth better and balanced men into the world. There's a paucity of balanced men in this world right now, and we need to help create more of them. And clear, equitable, and forthright information would put an awful lot of dudes on a better track. And look no further, really, than our own transfer portal. Let's look at some of these names. Cord Sandberg. What? I don't know. Eastern Kentucky, sure, whatever. But to be honest with you, I thought Cord Sandberg was the better number 2 option of everybody else on the roster the last couple of years. When he came in relief he ran the offense competently. I don't know why he wants to move on. I don't see Cord playing in the NFL, but whatever. Shea Garnett, I think he's probably got a lot of raw potential, but I don't know, man. Are you going to play on the next level? But if it's important to you, then good luck. Again, authentic information. Who's talking to these guys? So, and the rumors are, well, I don't know. Let me back up. Not rumors. Things that people have been, I guess, joking about is, wouldn't it be funny if he ended up with, what's his name at UCF? The quarterback killer. DJ Williams. All right, the running backs as a whole. DJ, Mark Anthony. DJ went to Florida State. Mark Anthony went to UCF, which is a head scratcher for obvious reasons. But Harold Joyner should fucking sue Gus Malzahn and everybody on that offensive staff for malpractice. Fucking Harold Joyner, man. What in the world? He might have wanted to stay put. Matthew Hill, nah. Misuse of talent right there. And with I guess a wide receiver room thin on experience, he should have stayed. That guy should have stayed, built on what he had going on already. Because I watched his high school film when he was being recruited, and he's talented. He should have stayed here. I guess he's just pissed. Kamar Bell, someone was never going to play. Justin Osborne, never going to play. Daquan Newkirk, whatever. Bye. Opportunity at Florida. Good. Go for it. Go. Wouldn't surprise me if Newkirk ended up in the NFL. I doubt he'll be anything more than a flash in the pan. Cons Miller, hard to figure. And then, Jay Hardy, Jaron Handy, these guys. One of them ended up at Indiana, I believe. I think it was Hardy. I forget. Indiana. I guess you'll get some playing time there. I suppose. You'll never play in the NFL. So what are you doing? Octavius Brothers, again, forget it. Why? All right. Josh Marsh, nope. Never heard of you. And then you get to these dudes, like Kamal Haddon and Chris Thompson, where you're like, you just got here. What are you doing? And I guess if you had an honest conversation, like I said, you never know what's going on. So if you had an honest conversation with the coaches and they said, you are never going to play, and that's important to you, then I guess you move on. And what about guys like... talk about these guys like Haddon and Thompson, which are these in and out multiple transfer. You just got here. You didn't even unpack your bags kind of things. And you think about guys like Nate Craig Myers, who was he in the 15 recruiting class? Or something like that. But he's been in college football for a long, long time now and will be going to his third school. Ironically, back to the person that he left in the first place because his system spent all his time in talent blocking. So, make of that what you will, but it seems to me like Nate Craig Myers had not been getting a lot of good advice, had not surrounded himself with people who elevate him. And again, I'm not anti-transfer. I'm not even anti bad decisions in that you are given the ability to learn from your bad decisions. Because you have surrounded yourself with people who are decent enough and care about your future that will let you fall, but they're there. They don't pick you up, but they're there when you pick yourself back up. That's your foundation. And so there's a significant amount of growth that results from going forth and surviving adversity. But you have to be able to return to a foundation from your adventures. You can't spend your life adrift. How many of these transfer drifters, seekers of greener grass, are being properly mentored along the way versus the number of them being used up by the gutter scum of big-time athletics, that world, like they're some fungible commodity? These subhuman cretins who prosper by selling young athletes the lipstick-covered pig of a narrative that is encrusted with delightful things like vast wealth, celebrity status, and fawning women. How many of these impressionable boys and young men in the making are told that 6% of high school players make it to the college level, and that 1 to 3%, depending on the sport, of that 6% are drafted? And if you are drafted or make it onto a roster as a free agent, the average player will last 2 to 4 years, depending on the sport, in that league. Then what? You're 25, 26, 27 years old with an awfully long life, a lot of life ahead of you. You think whatever you manage to keep from your playing days is going to get you through? These asshole media people talk about generational money. Please. We got people taking unemployment checks right now because they think $10,000 is a lot of money. And I don't give a good goddamn what your situation is. $10,000 is not a lot of money. But these people that talk about, oh, all you got to do is get to that rookie contract and then maybe one more contract. And that's generational money, except you're paying 500 people along the way and you manage to cobble together a little bit of savings, you've done well. So whatever you manage to keep from your 2 to 4 year playing career, if you're the average, that's not going to get you through the next 60 years. All those years you spent jumping from place to place with microscopic chances of building a life out of playing ball, what were you doing for yourself then? Were you taking advantage of the degree opportunity being handed to you? Oh, I know we're not supposed to talk about is a college degree. How important is that? I'm not even going to address how stupid that is. So were you taking advantage of the degree opportunity? Were you building a foundation and a network of friends and contacts? Did you create any kind of a base for an actual real-life human future? You guys are smart. You know all these numbers regarding the authentic probability of making a life playing ball with no other phases to the plan. This isn't about restricting movement and choice or preaching about the perils of a life without higher education, God forbid. You got to get it. You got to get that degree. No, you don't. That's one way. But if that opportunity is being handed to you and you don't take advantage of it, I can't even talk about how dumb that is. But that isn't all. There are endless paths to take towards success in life as a whole. But none, not one, none of those paths begin with bullshitting young people. See how that's working out for us. Tell the truth. They are dying for someone to be honest. How about this? How about something like, all right, you want to transfer. I hear you. But at least take a beat and consider all the factors. The reality is that it will be a miracle if you ever play it down on the next level. That's the truth, young man. Soak that in for a second. All right? So, why do you want to leave here? if playing meaningful snaps in college football, regardless of what comes next, is important enough for you to uproot yourself, then fair enough. We'll help you find the best fit for you to play and get your degree. We'll help you do that. But I suggest you consider what you have here in relation to your athletic ability before taking that leap. Work hard on the field, the film room, and the weight room. Go to class. Do the best you can with what you have. You hear that? Do the best you can with what you have. Build relationships, make lifelong friends, create a foundation for your life based on now you, out in the world you, husband and father you, middle-aged you, and old man you. Because all those people are real. Do those things, and you'll be successful on the field and in life. Now, if you think your path will be enhanced elsewhere, then again, we'll help you find the best fit for your future. No one here is forcing you to do anything, so at least consider these things before you make a decision. That's all I got for you, brother. Can you imagine if more people took an interest in young folks like that? Can you imagine if we didn't operate in this world of zero sum, this adversarial world in which we seem to live when it comes to these athletes? Treat them like people, not ball carriers. Treat them like people. Can you imagine if we had conversations like that? If we didn't play this game where it's tit for tat. Well, I'm not going to let you transfer here, and if you want to transfer, I'm going to try to bury you in, someplace you're not going to be able to get. You're not going to play in this conference, or you're not going to play for this team, or whatever. Can you imagine if instead of that attitude, we just took the attitude of creating a better friggin' world? How does that hurt anybody? How does taking a young man who maybe is considering transferring and counseling him, and then giving him the information to make an informed decision if he does eventually decide to leave your program, to actually help him? How does that hurt anyone? Seems to me like that helps everyone all around. You build relationships in life. You don't tear them down. And if your counseling, if your advice leads him to actually stay, well, then you've created an ally forever. You've created a force multiplier. You've created someone who's going to take forth that good into your program and forward into the world and do something great with it. How does that hurt anybody? You treat people well. What would the world look like then? Wouldn't be worse, would it? All right. That's enough of that. That's really not enough of that, but I don't feel like hollering about it anymore right now. So if you guys have any opinions on any of that right there, you know how to find me. Shoot me an email. Look me up on that social crap. One more thing. One more good thing. I wanted to end on a good thing. Seems like Alan Green and others, likely most everyone else who isn't an invertebrate jelly organism from a state where Marxists rule cowards by irrational fear-mongering, it seems like they want football stadia running at capacity in the coming season. Hallelujah. I say bring it on. I've said it 100 times here that the essence of sport, most especially, and I mean most especially college football, followed closely by basketball, is atmosphere. That is undeniable, man. Otherwise, TV wouldn't have gone through so much trouble this past year to add sound and keep the camera angles, to take pains to keep camera angles off of the blocks of tens of thousands of empty seats. There's no energy in an empty arena, and it makes the competition on the playing surface two-dimensional. And that's important. That's important to the soul of sport. And if you think the soul of sport isn't important, well, you probably wouldn't still be listening to me, but you're missing the broader depth of life. And likely someone who, if it disappeared, you'd be like, on to the next thing. Video games. Batman movies. It's the financial aspect is germane to everyone involved, and that's, of course, a driver. To the cynics and to the pure of heart, all alike, everybody's going to say, well, it's all about money. Well, you know what? That's okay. Because if the money isn't there, the platform isn't there. There's no one, there is no game. There's no next level. There's no opportunity. So the financial aspect is important to everyone, not just the universities, stacking crates of money. Isn't it curious how outraged people get over these universities making money off of athletes? But it seems conspicuously quiet regarding the utter theft besetting the non-scholarship student body of staggering tuition and other costs associated with a university education. Interesting. Anyway, everyone involved with putting on a sporting event is losing money with empty stadiums. From all the way from the universities to the vendors to the damn convenience stores along the route to the stadium. It's how do I put this? It's improper to look at this as, quote, just money. God damn it, I hate that stupid utterance. Money is hard to come by and hard to keep. It is a precious resource. It's required to live and secure a future. So don't denigrate it. And when you kick the legs out from an economy like we've been doing, well, you can see the looming catastrophe if you don't have your head shoved up your ass. Which you don't. This audience doesn't. Furthermore, it tips the scales on value-based economic decisions. Empty stadiums versus full stadiums. It tips the scales of decision-making. For me, I don't live in town anymore. I live 5 hours away. So in order for me to go attend a football game at Auburn University to see my beloved Auburn Tigers, it cost me no less than $1,000. And that's not nothing. Tickets, lodging, travel expenses, they're hair-raising. Hair-raising. And that's a big chunk of my budget. So I do it once a year. Make a big deal out of it. But I'm not going to go to an empty stadium or a 20% stadium. I told you all about at the end of basketball season, the last game, the Tennessee game, where we were in town and it was just my wife and I was like, you know what? I'm going to walk up there and see what I can do. I'm not buying tickets because tickets on the selling markets were, I couldn't believe what they were charging for a ticket to an Auburn, Tennessee basketball game that didn't mean anything in the greater sense and was going to be attended by like 1,500 people. And so you had this dichotomy of, because there were fewer tickets available, it was a premium. Except because there were fewer tickets available, I didn't want to go. Dude, I grew up a Braves and a Falcons fan. I don't want to sit in a stadium anymore ever again where I can carry on a conversation with the person across the field from me. So, no. and anyway, so the Tennessee game, I waited till tip. Well, walked up. I told y'all this. You remember this, but walked up the ticket window. Hey, you got anybody that didn't pick up their will calls or whatever? Nope. And there was nobody standing around anywhere within sight of the arena selling any tickets. I guess they might have put the kibosh on that, but and so I waited, and we went over an 8, and I was like, maybe we'll get in at halftime for next to nothing. The lowest those tickets went was like $95, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So that's the value-based decision. No, I'm not going to pay a premium to sit in a mostly empty stadium. So let's hope we can get back to living our lives. And aside from the mask thing, because the mask thing, the social distancing and mask thing is going to come up. And aside from the mask thing being detrimental to humanity, as well as its dubious effectiveness, we desperately need to get back to the task of living our lives. And that means taking calculated risks. You have choices here. Stay home and watch it on TV if you're high risk or high paranoia. Go to the game if that's a valuable experience to you, with a full stadium and a rocking crowd and that atmosphere. Jordan Hare on a Saturday. And while you're there, wear a mask or don't. It's your choice. Maybe. It remains to be seen what those making the decisions for each stadium will do about masks. If masks are required, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to raise hell about it or call for heads to roll or boycotts or any other dumb shit like that. I just won't go. That's my choice. Because I don't want to sit in a giant wok where I'm already broiling, wearing a mask over my face. No, thank you. I'll sit at home and wait until I don't have to wear a mask. Then I'll go back. See how that curve, that decision-making curve kind of gets the ball rolling? Again, choices. Let's give people back their choices. So yay for the prospect of full stadiums, because you know what? That's going to, there's no doubt it affected the win-loss records of teams last year. No doubt, in football and basketball. Atmosphere is important. It is important. Home crowd is important. And when you're not there, you might as well, when the crowd's not there, you might as well be playing one of these goddamn stupid neutral site games that I hate so much. Just play everything in the Georgia Dome with nobody there. Or the Georgia Dome. Bad memories. Whatever they call that place. Mercedes-Benz. Anyway, all right, that's enough of that. So what else we got? I'm going to end on some fun things, I think. All right, what have we got up here on the old tab line? Big rally. This is from 24/7 Sports. Mark Murphy. Big rally for Auburn to qualify for NCAA Women's Golf Championships. Way to go, ladies. Apparently they started, well, let's be honest, that is the theme of this show and this episode, this podcast in general. So they started off in a pretty shitty fashion at the Louisville Regional. And they climbed 8 spots on Wednesday to finish in a tie for 4th place with Michigan State to become among the 6 qualifiers from the 18-team event. So solid effort. And how about Kaylee Telfer, senior, came through. She eagled a 503-yard par 5 final hole. So, well done out of y'all. War damn golf balls, ladies. Solid effort. And as you all know by now, Tony Fair's coming to Auburn. Monstrous nose tackle. Nose guard. Nose tackle. Never could figure out which was which. Think they're the same thing. I've heard both. But 6'3", 335. I've heard he's a little bit more bulky than that. But in a three-man front, which sounds like they're going to be primarily running or at least rotating through, having a dude like that in the middle is going to be a big bonus. And he showed what he can do against upper-level elite competition while at UAB. So welcome aboard, Tony Fair. Football returns from AL.com, Mark Bennett. Football returns on Thursday night with the Spring League. Are you going to watch this? Do you care? I just can't possibly care. I know we got Auburn dudes playing there and all this kind of stuff, but it's just not a thing that I'm interested in, which I'm interested. It's going to be on TV. I can't find a way to be interested in this. So that's all I'll say about that. Here's something really dumb. From Andrew Hughes at flywareagle.com. Auburn football 24/7 sports snubs Tank Bigsby in SEC top 10 list. I'm not going to glorify. It's not Andrew Hughes' article that's stupid, obviously. It's the 24/7 sports rankings. So I'm not even going to address how stupid this is, because that would be perhaps underestimating the perspicacity of this audience. Needless to say, that's incredibly stupid. And, I heard it was last year sometime I was listening to some podcast or another, and honestly, I believe it was an interview with the head recruiting rankings guy, or the president of the company, or whoever is in charge of making decisions regarding the recruiting rankings of players for 24/7 sports. And his explanation just made me gag, because I love college football. I do not care about the NFL anymore. I am a former devotee who has moved away from that sanitized, boring, corporate nonsense. And so it was explained to me and the rest of you that they do their rankings. They rank high school football players based on their eventual likelihood of being drafted and succeeding in the NFL. And I don't think that has anything to do with anything. I think that's wrong and an improper way to frame that issue. So it's no surprise that they would not include the best running back in the SEC among this stupid little ranking, but they would put Matt Corral in there and some other people I've never heard of. Moving on from that, what else we got here? Don't care about that. Already addressed that. Charles Barkley. You know what? We're going to get into this issue as well, because much as I have some outside the box opinions, I guess, on this whole transfer thing, it's the same with the NIL, the name, image, and likeness thing, because also I addressed that, or I talked about how I'm going to address the impending death of college football if we don't do something drastic about it, and this is going to be part of it. and don't jump to assumptions or conclusions about what I may or may not think about this particular issue. What else we got up here? A couple things I'm going to save for next time. So this is great. Oh, and we'll wrap it up with this. I led with the tongue-in-cheek comment about gasoline and the Russians, but there's a lot of other things that are... I pulled an article from ABC13.com. I think they're out of Houston. Talking about shortages and all the things that we're short on. Chicken. How the fuck are we short on chicken? They're everywhere. As always, there is an underlying theme with all this stuff. Chlorine for swimming pools, computer chips, gas, ketchup. We're short on ketchup. We're not really short on ketchup. We're short on little packets of ketchup because of the way all the COVID rules had and everybody doing their curbside and pick up and to-go orders instead of eating in. Lumber, we've heard about all that stuff. Metal, steel. We're short of everything, apparently. Remember what I said about when you kick the legs out from an economy and what's going to happen. When you artificially tear down or prop up an economy, boy, there's hell to pay. There is hell to pay down the road, but what do we care? It's only our children and grandchildren, right? Right, baby boomers? Yeah. You got yours, right? It's all good. You do what you need to do. The rest of us, we'll just be here. And with that, I bid you all good day. And when you rise to the new dawn, put your feet on the floor with determination to be a little bit better than you were yesterday. What else can you ask of yourself? Auburn Stuff can be found at all the usual places. auburnstuff.podbean.com, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, TuneIn, iHeart, Spotify, and lots of other places in the podcast universe. And I swear to God, I'm coming on with the YouTube thing soon. I promise. It's here. I just haven't. I'm just me. It's just me. I'm one dude. It's hard for me to manage and produce all this stuff. Anyway. Wah, right? But I highly encourage you to download the Podbean app and listen to me there. And you can listen to all your other favorite podcasts there as well. That way you can do stuff like download, hit the little bell and the download notifications and all that kind of stuff. And while you're at it, support what you like. Actively support what you like. Subscribe, rate, review, give, share. Do these things. Do these things because it's the right thing to do. Stuff's going away, folks, and not of natural causes. So actively support what you love. And as we all set sail into the sunset of this episode, I want to remind you, as always, to be mindful, be fit, be authentic. Sometimes it's all you have, but most of the time, it's all you'll ever need. Until next time, War Eagle, everyone, and see you down the road.